Sponsored by the Glass Jug. Located just off State Road 55 in Durham, the Glass Jug is the only place in the Triangle where you can browse a selection of hundreds of different craft beers, sit and enjoy one of 16 different beers on tap, and then take home a counter-pressure-filled growler of your favorite draft beer. Their growler filling technology ensures beer freshness and carbonation for much longer than growlers filled from the tap. Join the Glass Jug for free testing events every Thursday at 5 p.m. We'll see you at the Glass Jug.
Hi, I'm Glenn. Dave's behind the camera. We're the NC Beer Guys. Welcome to another episode of the NC Beer Buzz. We're continuing our journey around Wilmington today, and we're on our way to Flytrap Brewing. And we are with Mike Barlas, who is the CEO, owner, brewer. He's kind of everything that Emily is not.
Yes.
How about that?
Emily does a lot as well.
Of course she does.
And we have a great staff as well. Taproom manager Joan and great bar staff as well.
But you are the face.
I am the face, I'm the brewer. Yeah.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
And we've been in about 4 months?
4.5 months, yes.
Okay.
Mid-October.
And we're on, what's the address?
319 Walnut Street
and people are not
downtown Wilmington.
Right, so if you're coming in from, like, we came in from Raleigh, if you come in on Martin Luther King and hit 3rd Street, you would take a left. And then just a block up.
That's right. Right. A block up. It's on the corner of 4th and Walnut Street.
Okay. And what was in here before? What was here before?
This was an office building. It's been a couple of things over the years. It originally started out as an engineering firm, and then became retail space. Was a swimming pool supply store right before we took it over.
So did you have a lot of work to do?
We gutted it.
Okay,
yeah.
pretty much.
We gutted it. We added windows, added doors, redid the entire plumbing, redid most of the electrical, and redid all the ductwork for the HVAC.
It's been great being in Wilmington today because we've been to several breweries and they're all bright, shiny, new, clean,
Yeah.
just wonderful places to be in.
Yes.
So it's just such a craft beer scene in Wilmington. What's happening? It's
awesome.
Bubbling up everywhere.
It's blowing up, which is really, really good. We've had a craft beer scene in Wilmington for quite some time, but it's finally just getting to the point where it's exploding.
So are you still educating the consumers and the customers? Are they there's macro drinkers that you're bringing along?
A good mix. There's a good mix. There's constantly people that are very familiar with craft beer.
They have certain expectations.
They have certain expectations, and they have great beer taste and great beer knowledge, and travel around and go to different breweries. We get those people, but we also get people who are new to craft beer as well. So it's a great mix of both of those kinds.
So you've got a little bit of challenge in some customers into educating them, bringing them along, telling them how to handle a growler to take it home. So a little bit of education.
We actually don't do growler.
Don't do growler.
Yeah.
Okay. By choice?
By choice.
So you're
by choice.
You don't want your beer sitting in somebody's refrigerator for 3 weeks.
That
then they decide to drink it.
We also have very, very limited production capacity. So everything that we're brewing right now is being consumed in pints on premise.
No local accounts even.
No local accounts. We've done a few off-site events, but everything else is just. Now,
is that a function of your by choice, your mission, or is it just your newness and you're trying to get caught up still? So far, the drinking everything you can make.
That's pretty much what it is. We're in the 4 months we've learned a lot. We've added a little bit of fermentation space, and we've been able to grill a little bit of what our production can be. But we are almost brewing at capacity just for pints on premise,
which is great.
Which is really, really good, and it's a function of being a very small nano brewery. We brew in 20-gallon batches at a time. We have 2-barrel fermenters, so 2 barrels, 62 gallons. I will triple batch the same recipe to fill one of our tanks. And that's kind of just a function of where we were able to come to market and actually make our dream happen.
And we'll figure out the rest when the rest needs to be figured out.
Exactly.
When we get there, we'll decide if we want local accounts or distribution or whatever. So how did we come to be Flytrap? How did you decide I'm going to be a brewery owner?
Flytrap was a multi-year process. I originally started homebrewing as I was going through an MBA program at UNCW, and had a passion for craft beer, but started brewing in the garage with a couple of friends, and almost immediately got hooked. Just the aromas and the chemistry and the process.
What did you think you were going to do with your MBA?
I was going to climb the corporate ladder.
Okay, right. That's what really.
That's what.
But now you can
that's
use
what
it,
my goal was.
And now you can use it
Now
to
I
make
can
a
use
good business side of the brewery.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
And do your passion.
Do the passion.
And what you're educated to
but
do.
still have some that is very, very relevant. The education is in use every day.
Of course.
But
because as we said earlier, you wear lots of hats here. You're not just a brewer making beer. You're running a business.
that's right.
Satisfying a population, a customer population.
That's right.
Figuring out about growth, where we are in the future, making some long-term plans.
Yes.
Meeting short-term debts and obligations. And
Exactly right.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of bookkeeping. A lot of just everything you're discussing.
What surprised you in 4 months that you didn't anticipate?
The level of support from the local community.
Great.
Yeah. They're.
So you thought you might have some down times that you've not had?
I don't know if it's the downtimes that I thought we would have. I think that we had some support from some friends, but once we opened, we got a lot of support from people we've never even met before. We had no clue. They were following us as we were doing construction.
How long did this take from like when you made the commitment, and let's say you got the money, you got things, I'm gonna go, until you could open the doors?
We signed the lease, and a little bit over a year later, we opened the doors.
Okay.
So
and that was anticipated, or longer than you thought, maybe?
Longer than we thought.
It always is, right?
It always is. I did a lot of the work myself, as much of the work as I could, and that added a little bit of extra time, but it also saved us a good amount of money. So,
Good.
Yeah.
And so you decided, I'm going to do this. Emily's in. Emily was challenged to sell her on it.
Emily was no challenge to sell her on it at all.
Excellent. So you've got a good supportive partner.
Yes.
How about your other people that are in the shop? Is it hard to find talent who knows what they're doing here?
No, there's a very good talent of both people with great palates and server and bartending experience in Wilmington. So we lucked into a very, very awesome team, and
the timing seems so great, just to be on the cusp of the Wilmington beer scene revival, or whatever you want to call it.
That's right.
Because for so many years it was just Front Street.
20 years.
And then a couple of bottle shops that were lost through the years. But now it seems like every month or so we hear about somebody else who's either going to open or has opened. And we're not anywhere near what it's going to be. We had somebody tell us this morning that by 2015, 2020, this is going to be the Asheville of North Carolina. I'm not sure about that.
Very, very big, bold statement.
I thought so too, but it will be obviously.
We might try.
It will be much more than it's been in the last
Exactly right.
few
Yeah.
years.
Exactly right. Yeah. It's something to strive for.
And you're part of a community here, not so much in competition with the other people who are doing the same thing.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's,
and you feel that support?
It's a genuine support. It's genuine.
So if you're in a bind one day and don't have something you need, you can pick up a phone and there's somebody who can call it.
Borrow things. My background is home brewing, so production brewing is very, very new to me.
So you know the local brew supply houses.
I know the local brew supply houses, but I also there's tips and tricks of production brewing that can help to get to a little bit more efficient, save me some time, and Kevin and Kelsey at Front Street have been very, very generous with sharing knowledge and just trying to foster a beer scene that not only has a lot of options, but has a lot of quality beer options.
We've talked about the business and the newness. Let's talk about the beer. Is there going to be something we'll know as a signature Flytrap beer? Some flagships, or is it going to be all over the board?
We've actually just kind of when we first came out, we made a little bit of a spectrum, and since then everything that we've made has been selling very well.
Okay.
But we ran into an issue where we weren't able to regularly brew all of the beers that we wanted to just because of capacity limitations.
Sure.
So we've kind of narrowed it down to 3 kind of flagship beers.
Okay, that you'll always have on.
We're always going to have on, to the best of our ability, we have a Saison. It's a traditional Belgian farmhouse Saison. We have a beer called Reader's Red. It's named for Stanley Reader. He was a local.
And that's a local name that's well known, Reader family.
Yes, the Reader family, and he was
florist, right?
The florist,
right.
yes, and he was one of the pioneers of actually preserving flytrap habitat.
Okay. Oh yeah, we should say that since we're in Wilmington.
Yeah.
I didn't get to the name. I knew it, but I didn't say it. So explain that to our viewers who may not know the geography and the flytrap connection.
The Venus flytrap, its only native habitat in the entire world is a 60 to 80 mile radius around Wilmington, North Carolina. It's been successfully transplanted to other areas, but this is
where it grows by natural, right?
It's native soil.
So even though you've heard all your life about the Venus flytrap and seen them open it up and eating bugs and flies, that was really a Wilmington plant.
That's right.
So Venus flytrap. So we taught Dave something too, I bet he didn't know that. So we had that New York man didn't know that about Venus flytrap. So flytrap brew was a natural, kind of go from there.
Exactly right. And Stanley Reader was one of the first people to actually walk the woods and plot out where these flytrap honey holes is what he called them, where there are large populations of Venus flytraps. And he really worked to make the plant more well known and to establish protection for the plant as well.
Right. So you got a Venus flytrap.
So we have a Reader's Red Ale. So it's a red ale named for Stanley Reader, and we also have a hoppy triple. So
a hoppy triple. Who can imagine?
That's right.
My favorite beer style is triple. I mean, you don't know this. The viewers who watch us regularly will know this. My go-to style is a triple.
Awesome.
And we just homebrewed a hoppy triple.
Sweet.
So we're very anxious off camera to get a hold of yours.
Sounds great. Love it. Yeah, so
besides the 3 flagships, how much experimentation? I mean, does it all your time and capacity go to keeping those 3 on the shelf?
No, a lot of it does.
Okay, so there'll be a little bit of
brewing. We've had a stout on very regularly.
What's your style?
My particular style?
As a brewer and a drinker.
As a brewer and a drinker.
Are they the same? Or do you brew something better than you drink?
I've been on a saison kick. I feel like my tastes fluctuate.
But everybody doesn't drink saison.
Not everybody does, but we sell a lot of saisons, and we sell a lot of saisons to people who are maybe not as familiar with craft beer.
Okay.
It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more refreshing, a little citrus notes, and people seem to really, really enjoy it. So it's kind of one of our bridge beers that gets people from the mass market into more craft beers. One of the things that I really like to do is take a base beer and tweak it a bit. So we have our base recipe for a stout. We did a chocolate stout for Valentine's Day. We've done a coffee chocolate milk stout. We have that on now. We've had that on a few times. So I really like
That's got Dave's name written all over chocolate milk stout.
I really like to develop a solid core recipe and then do some variations of that. We have an apricot saison right now, which is our saison recipe with apricots added. Right. We've done a few different one-offs of some various things. I also brew a Belgian double very regularly. I'm actually getting ready to brew that at the beginning of this coming week. We tend to kind of straddle the line between American ales and Belgian ales.
Okay. So nobody really knows coming in the door other than maybe the 3 flagships, what they might find.
Exactly right.
Which keeps it interesting.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. And that's part of the small batch brewing.
Right. The
we
flexibility.
have 4 2-barrel fermenters, and then I also have 4 chambers where I'm able to ferment 20-gallon batches. So we tend to do the more the flagships go into our 2 barrels, and then we have a few different experimental kind of batches where we'll do 20 gallons of
just to see what happens. And if you have to pour out 20 gallons, that's all you have to pour out.
Yeah, we've had to pour out a batch or 2.
Well, it happens.
It does happen.
It happens. But so for our viewers, before we close, open hours, when can they come in and drink?
We're open 7 days a week. Monday through Thursday is 3 to 10. Friday is 3 to midnight.
Okay.
Saturday is noon to midnight, and Sunday is noon to 10.
Great. Good. Thanks for having us in. We wish you all luck in the world.
Yes. Thank you.
Good luck. Good.
Thanks.
So when you get to Wilmington, you need to check out the Flytrap folks here on, tell me again, the street?
4th and Walnut, 319 Walnut.
319 Walnut. And experience what's new and upcoming in the Wilmington beer scene. So for the NC Beer guys, it's been another episode of NC Beer Buzz, and we remind you to drink local and keep your beer dollars in North Carolina.